Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective. With pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Monday, December 20th, Christmas week has arrived. And with it, a lot of chaos in the National Hockey League from a scheduling standpoint, caused, of course, by the COVID-19 issues that are all over the place in the NHL right now. Ian Cameron, and we've got a special guest with me today. He knew his team was one of the only two teams playing tonight in the NHL, and he just decided, I'm going to see if I can finagle my way onto the show today. And he was able to do just that. It's our good friend and our Minnesota Wild super fan in our Ice Guys family, if you will, Terry Edelman joining us on the show today. Terry, welcome in.
Thanks for having me. Small slate with the canceled game, Buffalo Columbus. I was actually going to be on Buffalo in that spot. I was also looking at the draw. And then, Melissa in our group chat let us know that the game was going to be postponed. And I thought, it's not really surprising at this point. The games are getting postponed, but it sucks when you really like something in that game and then that happens. But not much we can do at this point, I guess. Oh, I think you're muted, Ian. And I'll be right back in a second. Looks like there's probably just an issue.
All right, I think we're back now.
There you go.
Just a mic issue. So there we go. We're back. And we're ready for this Monday card that's down to just one game. But let's get you up to date on what's going on here around the National Hockey League. Make sure if this happens again, Terry, this is a live show. Make sure you're talking when I drop out like that. So keep the conversation going. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Just remember to do that. But nevertheless, I'm back, and we're going to talk Minnesota-Dallas. Obviously, it's the only game today in the NHL. But let's get you caught up on the latest developments. Obviously, you're all aware of by now. There's several teams that have been shut down through the Christmas break, including Detroit, including Colorado, including Boston, Nashville, Florida, Calgary, and all games as well involving teams, a Canadian team versus an American team that were scheduled this week with cross-border travel involved. All of those games have been postponed as well. So that's left this as a minimal schedule, unfortunately, this week going into the Christmas break. So the way the schedule is going to work this week for the Ice Guys is obviously there'll be much fewer games. We only have one game today. We do have a Tuesday card that, as of right now, of course, things can always change with that. Everything is very fluid right now. We have 4 games scheduled on Tuesday. There are no games on Wednesday. Every one of the 4 games that were scheduled for Wednesday has been postponed. So there will be no Ice Guys show on Wednesday this week. We will be on today. We're on tomorrow on Tuesday, and we'll be on Thursday. And as of right now, we have 5 games scheduled on Thursday, the final day of NHL games before the Christmas break. And then after Thursday, we'll be off till next Monday, December 27, when hopefully we'll start to see things start to look a little bit more normal in terms of the NHL scheduling again. And of course, stay tuned, because the NHL has obviously got a plan for rescheduling just a shit ton of games now that have been postponed the last few days, and in Calgary's case, the last week or so, because of these COVID-19 protocol developments that are ongoing. So that's the way it'll be. We got 3 shows this week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Then we're off for the break, and then we'll be back next Monday. Before we get into tonight's lone game, Minnesota and Dallas, look back just on yesterday's action. We had the Vegas Golden Knights and the New York Islanders, a wildly entertaining early afternoon affair yesterday. I know a lot of people focused on NFL football, I'm sure, yesterday, but if you were keeping an eye on that Vegas Islanders game, and I was, it's a very entertaining hockey game. Great effort by the Islanders, and even in a very tricky spot for Vegas. End of a long road trip, a pretty successful one. You weren't sure if they'd have their best game, but they found a way once again. This Vegas Golden Knights team continuing to play great hockey, continuing to score goals even against solid teams defensively like the New York Islanders. So good win there for the Vegas Golden Knights. I was very much liking Winnipeg as well as the over against St. Louis yesterday. The Jets get the victory 4-2. The game does go over the total, which was my best bet on Sunday's show. And a lot of it was, look, it's been now a day off for Dave Lowry to really get entrenched now as the interim coach, have a practice with his team, which he was able to do on Saturday. And you certainly saw a much more fluid, strong, solid effort from the Winnipeg Jets. And I also thought, with Lowry behind the bench, make no mistake about it, they want to have a fast type of pace to their game. They want to transition the puck quickly, north-south. We saw evidence of that really in the first two games since Lowry's been the interim coach. So Winnipeg overs could be something I continue to look for in the future with them, and they get a 4-2 win over the Blues. Jordan Binnington seems like he has one of these incidents every couple of weeks where he loses his mind, and he kind of did that yesterday. He tosses the mask off in the third period, gets a delay of game penalty. Apparently he lost his goal stick, so he says, I got to toss my mask off to get the stoppage. Well, guess what? It doesn't work that way. You lose your goal stick, it doesn't mean that gives you the green light to toss your mask off and not get a delay of game penalty. Wait, you got to hope one of your teammates gives you the stick back. They're not going to have sympathy for Jordan Binnington just because he lost his goal stick. You fire your mask off into the boards area like that, you're stopping the flow of play. They're going to give you a penalty. He didn't like that for some reason. I don't think he got what the rules were. Nevertheless, he got a little upset about that, but it doesn't take much for Jordan Binnington to get upset. We've seen that in years past. But Winnipeg gets the victory 4-2 yesterday in that one. How about the LA Kings? One of the great stories of yesterday. Garrett Sparks, this is a guy that's played several NHL games with the Leafs organization years ago, has suffered some key injuries, had to go down to the minors and really retool and refine his game again. And battled his way back, ECHL, AHL. He basically said it in his press conference. And then because of an emergency situation, Quick didn't want to put him in back-to-back. Peterson, is not able to play. They ended up giving Garrett Sparks the call-up and the start last night against Washington, and he played very well, kept the team in the game when they were down 2-0 and gave them the chance to come back. 3-2 victory for the LA Kings last night. Very impressive, a great performance by Sparks, and so definitely you could sense that team really wanted to get a W for Garrett Sparks, given all he's been through. So very cool story, and very cool to see all the emotion pouring out of Garrett Sparks after the game, talking about the journey it took for him to get back into the NHL and starting in an NHL game. So very cool. If you haven't seen the video of his press conference after them, take a look, because it's great stuff. It's what you love to see, stories like this involving players that just work hard, find their way back to the NHL level, and Garrett Sparks was able to do that. The final game yesterday was Pittsburgh, New Jersey. Pittsburgh hangs on for a 3-2 win. Penguins in regulation was a winner for me in that game. Just a solid effort. Figured they'd do enough offensively against John Gillies, who's another situation there where he's starting basically out of emergency for the Devils. So Pittsburgh continues to play well. New Jersey continues to not play well. It's definitely been a struggle for the Devils in recent games. Terry, what did you think of some of the games from yesterday?
I was on Vegas, but I was on Vegas in regulation and on the money line. So at least I got the money line there with Vegas. They're playing really well. They're one of the top. I think they are first in goal scoring on the road, or just right behind Colorado. So Vegas has been playing very well, especially on the road. I didn't touch that Winnipeg game, but that's funny to hear about Bennington. That's funny because it's not his first year playing hockey or anything, so I'm sure he's seen other goaltenders lose their sticks, and I don't think I've ever seen that where he would do that.
Well, that's the thing. That doesn't give you the carte blanche to stop play when it's still ongoing by throwing your mask. They're still going to call delay a game. They don't care. Refs don't give two shits whether you've lost your goal stick or not. You toss your mask away for no reason when the play is going on, you're going to get a delay of game penalty. That's it.
Yeah, that's part of hockey. It happens. Goaltenders lose sticks all the time. I get it. That's part of hockey, but I'm surprised I wasn't watching that, so I didn't get to see that. But doesn't surprise me with Bennington. Los Angeles, I was on Washington. I had Washington in regulation and the puck line, smaller bet on the puck line, and I guess LA really wanted to play for Sparks, I guess. But I kind of really saw that as a down spot for them. Penguins in regulation, I was on that as well, so I was happy with that. 38 straight penalty kills for Pittsburgh, and then the 39th, New Jersey scored. So that was a pretty good streak. I think they said it was 15 games. It would have been 16 games if they had that penalty streak. So that's pretty good for the penalty kill. So a small card, just trying to battle through with how COVID's going, and see how many games we get and when they all get played, all these postponements.
Yep. Well, tonight we have a whopping grand total of one game on the NHL slate, and we'll talk about it right now. It's the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. We've got pretty much even money here on both sides, 5.5 the total in this game. For the Minnesota Wild, look, 3 losses in a row is a rarity for them, but that's where they're at right now. 3 straight losses for the Wild entering this game against LA, Vegas, and Buffalo in a shootout being the stunner in that game. Although I did take a small piece of the Sabres in that game, just riding the good fortunes of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who was very good in net that night for the Sabres. But you look at Minnesota, and you look, they still got a point, which tells you how good the Minnesota Wild are. You know, they got a point in a game they were horrible in, and in a game that their coach thought they were horrible in. I mean, Dean Evason certainly did not sugarcoat things after the Sabres game. He said, we deserved worse. We weren't good. We weren't good at the start. We weren't good at the middle. We weren't good at the end. You could tell all of us just weren't very good. We needed some practice. Our pace was terrible, absolutely terrible, brutal. They played great. They credit to them for sure, but we didn't have anything. Doesn't sound like a very happy coach, Dean Evason, after that Buffalo game the other night. So now they have 3 days off. They had a practice on Friday. They actually got one in on Sunday as well, before departing for Dallas for this game. So 2 full practices to work out the kinks, shake off the 3-game losing streak. The coach that wasn't very happy with the way they played the last game. It certainly feels like it's a hell of a great spot, for Minnesota coming into tonight. The multiple practice days, 3 days off, so a rested team should have plenty of jump in their legs tonight as they take the ice against the Stars. No question about that. And I would agree with that. I think you're going to see a much better performance tonight from Minnesota. One caveat is Dallas, even though they just beat Chicago, which snapped a 5-game losing streak, majority of those losses were on the road. This team at home has been very, very good lately, although one of those home losses, the only home loss during that stretch for Dallas, they're 9-1 in their last 10 home games, was against St. Louis. It was a depleted Blues team. It's a loss that left Rick Bowness very unhappy with his team after that performance. So that's the only home loss they've had in their last 10 games. They bounced back. They beat Chicago 4-3 in overtime on Saturday night after losing 2 in a row to St. Louis. That was a very, very contentious game. It was intense. It was physical. It obviously had the Tanner Kero incident where he was hit by Brett Connolly. I went on about the hit yesterday if you want to hear about it. I'm not going to belabor the point, but nevertheless, I mean, it was certainly an emotional, intense game because of that hit that took place in that game. We'll see if Dallas can muster up the emotion again. Now, Dallas, I think, really wants to get back at Minnesota because they got absolutely embarrassed earlier this year in Minnesota, 7-2 loss to the Minnesota Wild. But the way I look at it is we've got the superior team, that's Minnesota, with 3 days off, which is a rarity these days in the NHL. But now you're starting to see it because of all the postponements. You got 3 days off, 2 practice days in, coach not happy, a Minnesota Wild team that's been good at nipping losing streaks in the bud, extended losing streaks. I mean, this is their longest losing streak of the year. They've been very good at not letting it swell into 4, 5, 6, 7-game losing streaks. And I think they'll do that here. I like Minnesota as a short road underdog around even money. You can still get plus 100 at some spots, although it looks like the money is starting to come in a little bit on Minnesota in this game tonight. There are some concerns from an injury standpoint, a little bit for Minnesota. Jared Spurgeon on the blue line out indefinitely, and it looks like Jordan Greenway will not suit up either tonight for the Minnesota Wild. But that being said, there's some quality depth on this team. Dallas, even with the victories, I want to point out one thing about the Dallas victories. For as good as they've been at home, let's look at the last 3 home wins. Chicago, Arizona, Columbus. What's the common thread? None of those teams are as good as Minnesota. That's the common thread. I think this will be a step up in class here for Dallas, a prime spot for the superior team in my mind. So I'll go with Minnesota here at around even money. I like over the total of 5.5 here. I'm always interested with a Minnesota game over the total at this kind of number. Dallas has been trending under is the one concern a little bit, but you look at Minnesota, one of the things that Dean Evison wasn't happy about was the lack of net drive, the lack of transition game, the lack of moving their feet and pace overall in their loss to Buffalo. He wants that amped up big time. And I think with the 3 days off, you're going to see Minnesota really try to play fast because they're going to be full of energy, having this rare 3-day break between games, which again doesn't happen in this era where you have so many condensed games usually in a short period of time. So I like Minnesota and I like over 5.5 here as well. And the resident Wild fan, Terry Edelman, I'm just waiting for him to say he likes Dallas tonight. I'm just waiting, and I know I'll be waiting for the rest of my life on those words to be uttered from Terry on a night like tonight. So, go ahead, Terry? Take a wild guess what you're betting in this game.
I am on Dallas team total under 2.5. That's one of my bets.
I like that. Yeah, you paused there. The dramatic pause. I'm on Dallas team total under. I like that.
Yeah, that's one of my plays. I see this as a close game. Wild have lost 3 in a row. That didn't happen for 108 regular season games. They had not lost 3 in a row. Dean Evison is a fantastic coach. I totally agree with everything he said playing Buffalo. The Wild just weren't good in that game. Yes, Luukkonen has been fantastic. And I was a little bit worried about that, but I think Minnesota lost because they didn't play well enough. Dallas is 1-4 in their last 5 games. Minnesota's 9th in goal scoring on the road and 11th in goals against. Dallas is 13th in goals for at home and 3rd in goals against. So I see a 2-2 game after regulation, and then the Wild getting the win in overtime. So I am on Minnesota money line plus 100, the draw plus 300, and then Dallas team total under 2.5. I see a close game with the Wild getting the victory. Dallas, like Ian did say, will be looking for revenge in this game. If you follow Jimmy Murphy, obviously on Twitter, he posted a video of Rem Pitlick, a Wild player, his interview. A great interview by him. He's getting into the lineup tonight with Jordan Greenway being out, and I wouldn't be surprised if Rem Pitlick scores. I'm not officially on that yet, but I see Rem Pitlick coming out and trying to prove himself in this game. That was a fantastic interview by him. So I wouldn't talk anybody off Rem Pitlick goal scoring prop. But yeah, that's what I see.
There you go. All right. So liking Minnesota as well. And look, there's nothing wrong with Terry going with Minnesota. It's his team, but there's reasons to like Minnesota tonight. This isn't just a blatant, outright homer opinion for Terry, because I share that opinion. And I'm obviously unbiased when it comes to Minnesota. I just think it's a good situation for them. They are a very good hockey team. This was, even though they only lost, by a goal, and they still got a point out of it, you'd think they got destroyed in that game with the way Evison talked the players. They said we just weren't very good against the Buffalo Sabres the other night. So I'd expect them to be a lot better, like in Minnesota here in this one as well as over 5.5. And we do have some breaking news. Tomorrow we do have a show, and we were going to have 4 games. It's down to 3 games now on the Tuesday NHL card. The New Jersey Devils Pittsburgh Penguins game has been postponed. That's due to the New Jersey Devils COVID situation, which is getting worse, not better, unfortunately, like with so many other teams, also getting worse, not better. So unfortunate news there. No Pittsburgh, New Jersey tomorrow. So we're down to just 3 games tomorrow: Washington, Philadelphia, Arizona, Seattle, and Tampa Bay, Vegas. And that's just as of right now. Things could always change between now and tomorrow afternoon when we do the Tuesday show. So fingers crossed we at least get the 3 games that are remaining on the Tuesday schedule played. But again, never say never right now with everything that's going on. But great stuff with Terry Edelman. This is a short show with just the 1 game. Thank everybody for joining us. We'll get to best bets in just a second, but want to mention DraftKings Sportsbook. Obviously, official sports betting partner of the NHL and the NFL, and of course, great partners here and sponsors of the Ice Guys and the Hockey Podcast Network, all the shows that are on THPN. And a reminder that you can take advantage of, NFL games. There's 2 NFL games Monday, I should say today, and 2 on Tuesday as well, rescheduled due to COVID issues in that league. And a reminder that you can be a winner with just 1 single point scored in an NFL game. New customers who bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets. It's that simple. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, no worries. You can still play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contests. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN. Bet $1 on any team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code THPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years of age or older, must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. New customers only, minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. 1 per customer, restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up for an account, and use the promo code THPN. All right, it's time for best bets now for this Monday show, which features just the 1 game, the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. And we're going to let Terry have the first crack at it, best bet. Just befuddle us, just shock us, just absolutely come out of left field with a best bet that we won't see coming from a mile away. Terry, what do you like?
Minnesota money line plus 100.
Shocker!
I was gonna go with the Dallas team total under, but that is at plus 140. Dallas team total under 2.5. But that's a little bit risky. Like that's a smaller bet for me. Just quickly to Melissa's comment there too. Wild money line and over 4.5. I wouldn't talk you off that. Like I said, I see 2-2 going to overtime. The Wild getting the win. So if that happens, you'll win that bet, but it'll be nervous. It'll be a nerve-wracking win. So I wouldn't talk you off that. But yeah, 1 game on the board, Wild money line, my best bet.
All right, Minnesota, best bet. Best price right now looks like minus 102 at the moment with Minnesota. So even the plus, the plus prices are starting to disappear. They were plus 105 in a lot of spots earlier in the day, but starting to move a little bit toward Minnesota. And my best bet's going to be the same. I mean, it's Minnesota plus, or actually it's now minus 102 is the best price available currently. It's just a prime situation for a really good hockey team. I mean, Minnesota hasn't lost 3-0 in a very long time. They've had 3 days off, including 2 full practices where they were put through the paces pretty well. I'd expect them to be full of energy tonight, bounce back situation, as well as Dallas has played at home, 9-1 in their last 10 home games. Schedule's been a little bit light in some of those home games. And, they're coming off a very, very emotional game against Chicago, marred by the hit by Tanner Kero. On Tanner Kero, I should say, by Brett Connolly. So it might be tough for them to respond here just a cup 48 hours later and play again against what should be a very, very motivated Minnesota team playing with a sense of urgency. So for me, Minnesota as well, minus 102 against Dallas, best bet. And I'll throw out a couple goal scorer props as well. Fiala for the Wild. And I'll go Pavelski for Dallas just because he's on a roll right now offensively for them. A couple goals the other night. So if you want to sprinkle on a couple goal scorer props, those are some of the ones I would look at for that Wild Stars game tonight. And there you have it. That is the Monday edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone for joining us. A reminder, hit the like button. If you are watching us live on YouTube, it helps us out a lot. Terry, actually, before we go, for some final words from you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And definitely, like Ian said, I'm in the chat every day saying smash that like button. The Ice Guys is great. Like I've been following you guys for years now, and it just takes a second to hit that like button, and it really helps out. leave comments afterwards on the video. Everybody, good luck tonight.
All right, absolutely. Good luck to everybody. And of course, during these crazy times, always stay safe. That's always important as well. We're going into the Christmas season. Christmas week is here, Christmas Day this weekend. So a reminder, too, about the shows. We're going to have a show tomorrow on Tuesday. We'll be off on Wednesday because there are no games. And we'll be back on Thursday. That'll be our final show before the Christmas break. I believe as of right now, we're going to have the majority of, if not the entire Ice Guys crew on the show tomorrow and on the show Thursday. Alex B. Smith will certainly be with me tomorrow and Thursday, and I think we'll have Jimmy and returning from vacation, Andrew McInnis as well, either of and possibly both of the next two shows, Tuesday and Thursday. So make sure you join us for that as we have our final two Ice Guys shows Tuesday and Thursday this week. Before the Christmas break. And a reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast whenever you can't watch the show live. For our special guest, Terry Edelman, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday. Enjoy the games and good luck, and we will talk to you again tomorrow on Tuesday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.